This is Mercy Pilkington for GoodEReader at Digital Book World, speaking with Kelly Gallagher, from Bowker. Mr. Gallagher, why don't you tell us first of all what you do at Bowker?
Hi, I'm the Vice President of Publishing Workflow Solutions, and really that's just a big name for ways in which we help our industry partners, be they publishers, retailers, authors, etc., understand what the landscape looks like across the publishing industry by providing research on consumers, book sales, and anything else that really our industry needs to know in order to better perform and to publish things that consumers want.
Okay. Back in October, we were at Self-Pub Book Expo, and we're excited to hear about Bowker's program, Book Stats. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what that is and what that can do for authors and publishers?
So Book Stats was an initiative that we engaged with the Association for American Publishers and also the Book Industry Study Group. And really what the whole genesis of Book Stats was to help the industry really quantify just how big it was and in what various areas. As you probably know, the publishing industry is just literally mushroomed overnight, where 4 or 5 years ago, the traditional publisher was publishing somewhere around 250,000 titles a year. That sounds like a pretty big number, but when you then begin to add in what we would call the non-traditional, we begin to see that the industry is much larger, and those would be anyone who is potentially self-publishing or in a pay-to-publish situation, or these publishing houses that are springing up that are bringing books back to life, be they out of print or any other kind of special publishing. And those numbers are really astronomical, well over 2 million titles coming out last year. And so the goal with Book Stats was to help quantify both the traditional and the non-traditional segments and report back to the industry, really what its overall size was, and then where its growth areas were by either channel or by a category, etc.
Okay, a large number of our readership are actually people who are interested in maybe getting their own works out there, and we recently spoke with someone from Bowker about the concept of metadata. What is that, and what does it do for an author in terms of getting their book some attention or get it noticed in the market?
Well, today it's all about the metadata. It's all about search and discovery, and especially in a digital world, your ability to be found it's critical. There's a very long tail, over 2 million titles wide, coming out every year, and so how you will intersect and essentially put yourself in front of the eyes of the consumer is absolutely essential, and metadata is the key that does that. It starts with good core information, title, author, etc., good descriptors of that with keywords and tagging, but then ultimately it then goes into the opportunity to optimize that information. So if you think about Google, when you type in a search term, and those items that rise to the top that you generally click on apart from the advertisements, those are from people who are doing really good metadata and really good search optimization. And so we really work to combine those two items together to help authors, especially those that are maybe working on their own or in a very small publishing house, to be able to be found, and that's a service that we offer.
Great. Last question, can you tell us a little bit about what you're presenting when you speak today at Digital Book World?
So a couple different things. One is just what is the state of ebooks in the industry today. Some really interesting facts that are coming out. That's one of the things that we monitor. And for instance, what we saw last year at this time was an exponential growth in the ebook market. In 2011, what we actually ended up seeing was more incremental growth, meaning it wasn't going like this, it was more going like this. Still great growth, but again, trying to help the industry understand what the growth opportunities are, how fast it's going, what is the rate of change, etc., is something that's really important to us.
Thank you so much for your time. Again, this is Mercy Pilkington for GoodEReader at Digital Book World.